So in today's video, I'm testing the first Nike Premier League football against the last Nike Premier League football. Because if you didn't know, this year marks the last year of Nike sponsoring the Premier League ball. That's a 25-year thing with Puma taking over in the summer, meaning that this will be the last Nike Premier League football for now at least. So in today's video, I'm gonna try and see how far Nike footballs have come in those 25 years. But the thing is that, well, the Heritage Geo Merlin here, it's a takedown and it's kind of cheap. And I don't really vibe with that, so I got my hands on the original Geo Merlin instead. So let's see which is better. So introduced in 2000 and used for 2 seasons, the Nike Geo Merlin was claimed to be the roundest football ever made at the time, with the Geo 1 technology allowing the bladder to fill out evenly against every of the classic 32 panels. Plus, made with an outer shell with polyethylene foam and vulcanized rubber, you got a responsive ball with a bit of a trampoline effect, returning impact energy when the ball was struck. The Nike Flight Ball was introduced for the 2020-21 season and brought about 4 big fuse panels with the AeroSculpt technology. Basically little grooves working to decrease the drag and make for a more stable flight for the ball. And in fact, it turned out to have a 30% truer flight compared to the ball before, according to Nike's tests. And, as seems to be common for the Premier League balls, Nike have claimed that it's the most precise ball ever made. For the 5th time ever. And we haven't even gotten to the fun part yet, the shooting, but I already feel that the Geo Merlin is a significantly older football. Does it feel 25 years old? Maybe not, but you definitely just feel that it has this solidity of an older football. It feels harder to strike, even when you're just making short passes or, especially those long ping passes where the outer shell just feels more solid. It feels a bit more synthetic-y in this slightly harder way. It's a cold day today, so the first couple of passes really hurt, I'm not gonna lie. And you just feel that, everything just feels a bit more rough. The ball feels like it has more weight to it. I don't know if it does, but it does feel a bit more weighty. And the way the bladder interacts with the outer shell, it just feels very responsive. You get that very hard ping when you strike the ball. Whereas with the Flight, it just feels more, obviously modern. It feels a little bit lighter when you strike it, feels a little bit more lively, but also the way it comes off your foot, it's just ever so slightly quicker. Also, of course, the outer shell here, it does feel softer. The synthetic feels a little bit more, I know it sounds stupid to say stretchy, but it does have a little bit more like some sort of rebound to it when you strike it, so softer to the touch overall. And for some reason, it also feels as if the shell and the bladder aren't as connected as they feel on the Geo Merlin. It feels as if there's some sort of like air layer in between. I know it sounds stupid, but just a little bit softer to the touch. And that's just the passing, so let's see what they feel like when we start to dribble. And the funny feeling is that when you dribble, I don't think you feel the 25-year age difference here, because the Geo Merlin, it doesn't feel as hard, on the touch as it did when you pass and especially make those ping passes. Plus, it has a little bit of this sticky treatment on the coating on the outer side of the shell, meaning that it just connects really nicely with the boot. It's not overly sticky. It's not like, you trip on the ball. It's not, some of the Puma match balls, for instance, compared with the grippiness of their boots. That can get really sticky, especially on AG, but this is just right in terms of the balance. And I do enjoy that it has this almost like a little bit of a light touch to it, but then some weight behind as you touch it. The Flight, obviously, it does feel a little bit more, should I say, airy to the touch, It has that initial softness as you put through, and somehow also feels a little bit more, I don't want to say plasticky, that's a bad word, but it just has a little bit more like this spongy feeling as you touch it compared to the Geo Merlin. Obviously, there's also a little bit of texturing here, and while it doesn't feel sticky per se, there is a sort of haptic when you touch it, so you do feel a pretty good connection with the boot as well. But I'll be honest with you guys, in terms of pure dribbling, close control, I'm probably leaning towards the Geo Merlin here. And it's 25 years old. And then there is the shooting, which is where it gets really interesting. So as with the passing, the Geo Merlin just feels firmer.
basically. It's a pretty smooth ball overall, so there's not much like, you don't really have any texturing as you strike it in terms of putting swerve on the ball or anything. It's just smooth, and that gives you this very honest, firm, direct feeling as you strike the ball. The thing with the Geo Merlin is that it also moves. I don't know if you can see it on some of the shots here, but you can really, when you just strike it hard and put your foot through it, you can get this like very interesting motion that's not fun for the keeper, I can imagine. Whereas the Flight, on the other hand, you can tell that it's a more modern ball. Again, it is lighter, and then it has this interesting combination of, again, it doesn't feel disconnected, the outer shell from the bladder, but it has this initial, slightly more dampened feel. There's a little bit of like a bouncy sensation as you put your foot through the ball until you reach the bladder, and it then gives you this slightly firmer response. So it has the potential to move quick, but it doesn't feel as fast, as direct as the Geo Merlin. Obviously, there is a bit more like texturing on the ball. You can feel the micro texturing, you can feel that aero sculpt texturing, but to me, I wouldn't say it's as fast. It's not like the Champions League finale ball. It's not like the Fußball Libre where you have a lot of little texturing on it and you have that very powerful responsive sensation. So it is a little bit somewhere in the middle where it feels both light, but also a little bit on the like heavy side. All right, strike it right, it can move, it can curve, but it's just a little bit, it maybe takes a little bit more to get this to move than the Geo Merlin. With that said, the big question is, 25 years of technology and innovation. Has the Nike Flight evolved enough to be significantly better than the Nike Geo Merlin? And I mean, I should hope so, because otherwise it would kind of suck. And if I'm being honest, I mean, I love the Geo Merlin. I love everything that it is, all that it looks, and you know, the way that it just feels. But if I was playing a match tomorrow, I would choose the Nike Flight every single day of the week, because it just feels a little bit more modern, it's lighter, and it's a little bit more easy to play with for someone who's played with both of these football throughout his time as a footballer. But which is your Premier League football? Let me know in the comment section right down below. And then of course, if you want the last Nike Premier League football, well, for now at least, with that iconic Team 90 inspired design, it's a right beauty. You can get it in the link to Unisport right over there. Hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.